everyone, welcome to Montana again. In the last video I explained the how to make a clay buster bucket trommel. I did the frame, the sluice, my pump, the motor. Now we're moving on to how I made the bucket for the trommel. We're going to start by saying not all buckets are created equal by any means. What I found was the sturdiest 5-gallon bucket I could find was a paint bucket. I don't know where you'd find one for sure, except for if you don't have one, is, go to the paint store. I went to the paint store the other day, and their empty buckets in there were super strong, just like the ones they sell the paint in. That'd be my suggestions. The Home Depot ones are not that sturdy. They crack. The food containers seem to be pretty flimsy. So this is the strongest bucket that I could come up with, was a paint bucket. So first off, how did I build this thing? You can see all the blue tape on here, and that's all that is it's painter's tape. And so I just cut out 4 equal sections, 2 inches up from the bottom of the bucket, 2 inches down from the first lip of the bucket, and then I just actually had tape running up here and here, found the center, ran it up, and I left the bucket attached 1 inch thick. We've got 4 of them. So that gives it a little bit of strength, gives you something to attach your screen to. I use 1/4 inch metal screen. I get it at Home Depot. It's now $9 a roll. You have enough for this project and many more if you want to. So that's all I did there. I attached the screen using 1/4 inch, 1 inch long bolts, carriage bolts, and washers. I think you could rivet it, and I might try that next time. Up to this point, I like what I've done, because this thing just rides right on the wheels. Let me shut this off for a second. Let me get... Okay, we got the bucket back on there, and it's all attached again. So I made it so it rides right on the back of the bucket here. We're about 1/4 of an inch from the end here. And then I also made it to ride before the first lip. This is the strongest lip on the bucket. It's got all kinds of supports and stuff in there. So I figured if it rode on there, no big deal. It does when you get it loaded up a little bit sometimes, but it just sits there and spins. The wheels are carrying all the weight, like I said before, so we don't have to worry about the motor. It's not cutting into this PVC pipe at all. It's just riding on the wheels and sitting there spinning. Then on the inside, and make sure you don't put any bolts where the wheels are going to run. Just mark this off with your masking tape. Make sure you drill all your holes inside the masking tape, and you should be good. Because we gave it a 1 inch space with another inch space here for the wheel to run in. So that's how I did that. The back of the bucket, I just put a 6 inch long bracket or a flat bar in here. This one already had some holes in it. Put some 1/4 inch bolts just to give it a little strength in the back. 1.5 inch washer, a lock washer, and a nut on that to hold it together. You would think it would slip if you want to strengthen it. There's a million ways to do it, but it's working. It hasn't slipped on me yet. So the tubing. This is just, I think, 1/2 inch plastic tubing. It's got the polycord on the inside of it. It's super strong and thick. I've ran probably at least 20 buckets through this already. It doesn't even have a nick in it. It's just as smooth as can be, so it's not falling apart at all at this point. Just started at the back. You can use carriage bolts if you want. I used some 1/4 inch screws on that and just drilled in and fastened them up. Just made a coil all the way around and out. I didn't want it super tight to the screen. I don't want to be packing all the water out with it, so but it seems to be working great. It's not moving around. Oh, it moves, but it's still doing the job. It's a little flexible. It's not falling apart at all, so I'm good with that. Next time, what I might try and do is, you can see I ran my screen all the way up the top and flopped it over the edge and bent it. A lot of rocks get stuck in here, so I'm thinking next time I'm going to just stop the screen down in here and bolt it or rivet it in here. That way it'll just be just the bucket out here. I think that might work better. I'm also thinking about cutting the screen just for each section, because the bottom of the bucket is not the same diameter as the top. It's wider at the top than it is at the bottom, and it creates some issues with the screen if you try and do it all in one shot like I did, and you end up with a patch down here. Now, I did patch it. It works great. I don't have any big rocks falling out, so it works for the time being. But I think what I'm going to do is cut the screen for each section separately, rivet it or bolt it here, and then also cut some more strips of plastic and just sandwich the screen together on these little 1-inch strips of the bucket here. I think that'll work good. I think the shrouds are going to need a little more work at some point. They just sit in here and they work, but what's happening is we're getting a lot of water back here falling over this wheel. It's not a big deal, but that's going to need some improvement on the shrouds. What else can I tell you? My water flow. I didn't mention this in the last video, but it is just PVC pipe, of course, and these are my nozzles. Just a 3/4 inch T and a 3/4 inch elbow. It works good. I don't have any issues with it. Doesn't plug up with running nozzles. I think the volume of water actually works better than the spray, unless you're going to do super high pressure, but then you have problems with volume. So this is how I'm doing it. It works great for me. If you got a better idea, by all means go for it. So I'm thinking, what else can I cover? I think that's pretty much it. That's all I can think of. If you have questions, ask me in the comments below. I'd be happy to answer them. Like I said, this is a first time build. It'll get improved over time, I'm sure. I'm going to be using this for a long time, I have a feeling. I think it works great. And I want to thank everybody for all the comments and the support with this. I was pretty overwhelmed with the response I got when I made this. But anyway, thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And we will catch you on the next video. Take care now.